Hello all once again. I'm Andrew Dunlap here to interview the biggest names in Muskie sports. This week, we talk to Hallie Donovan, head coach of the women's volleyball team, as she looks to make an impact in her first head coaching job. Hello all, and thank you for joining me. I'm Andrew Dunlap, along with head coach of the women's volleyball team, Hallie Donovan. First off, thank you for coming and joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is interesting, and you got an interesting story behind you, coming from Wittenberg, a school up north, I believe, and from Ohio.
West of here,
Okay.
directly west of here.
When you're still in a way a rookie coach, guided under the you were when you were in college and a couple years under the teachings of Paco Labrador. What was it from his perspective as a player? How did you? What was he like?
He was very. I think the word for him is knowledgeable. He pushes you mentally, physically, but he also makes you a better person. So he's very involved in your life, your grades, getting a job, and that's what he wants from his players, is to go on and get a good job. And so for him to push us not only on the court but off the court makes you a better person too.
All right. Under his tutorage, you actually won the. I believe you guys actually won the national championship when you were a player under him. What was it like winning the national championship?
It was pretty fun. We had this phrase, go to battle with your best friends, and that's what we did every single day. We went out and we played hard. We also had a teammate that had cancer, so that gave us a little bit of an extra motivation to win games for her.
Although this might be a stupid question, but how would you describe how he got involved? How are some ways the coach got involved in your players' lives?
He really pushed us to be involved on campus, sorority life, clubs, extra credit type things. But he really pushed us to go out and get the internships and job shadowing, just so we would know what we would want to do after we graduated.
Well, you clearly knew what you were doing. As soon as you graduated, you ended up as an assistant head coach for him.
I did.
When you became an assistant coach for him, what did you have a new feeling of understanding of what he had to go through as a coach, being you were going from player to coach's perspective?
You definitely see him in a different kind of light. He's more of your boss and less of your coach, but you still want to please him and not make him mad. So that part didn't change for me. He was probably the best boss that I've had in a really long time, and because I had a bunch of other jobs on the side, and he really pushed me to be the person and the coach that I am right now. And you
also made another run, a deep run in the Division III. Ended up getting dropped out as runner-up of the Division III tournament. In your final run as your last year as an assistant coach. How would you say? How was that journey? Not I guess similar question, but I guess how was the journey going from to start of the playoffs to the end as a coach?
Every season is different. You have different players who bring different things, and that senior class brought a lot of knowledge to the game. They had 2- and 3-year starters, and so they knew what the game was, and they knew how to win games, even though their opponents may or have been bigger than them, faster than them, stronger than them. They had more knowledge of the game.
So you talked earlier about how Coach Labrador got involved in the players' lives and helped them get jobs. Did you outside of school? Were you also a part of that system when you were an assistant coach?
I was the one writing letters for the girls, calling some other jobs to give them a recommendation, and I carried that over here. So for our first week of the girls being on campus, we met with career services, and they had to have one-on-one meetings with her about what they need to get a job. And even as freshmen, it's not too early to start.
Well, we already went through your resume, and and I think that's because of what you've done with your resume in the last few years as an assistant coach, and you were able to. That's why this school chose you to be the new head coach of the team. But from your side of things, why would you, of all the places you could have gone, why would you come to New Concord?
So this campus has a tradition of having a good team and having a good student body, and you can't ask for anything more when coming to a brand new school as a brand new head coach. So I walked into a very well-rounded team who wants to work hard, and you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, you could say that again. And now when we focus on our attention to the team itself, how besides getting them to talk to career services the first week, how is it that you have gotten to know these girls since August?
Well, we are in the gym together for about 3.5 hours each day, and so you get to know them pretty well. We've taken long bus trips, and so we stay in hotels, and you're just always with the team. And so you get to hear bits and pieces, and you talk to them, and you get to meet their parents and their siblings. And so you get to hear a lot about your team, and you get to see them interact with their families.
And I guess you sense this type of the same type of respect that you got from the players here at school on Muskingum that you got from Wittenberg?
Probably a little bit more, actually. A couple of the girls at Wittenberg were my teammates, and so they saw me as more of their mom and their friend. Here, I didn't know any of these girls coming in, and so they saw me as their coach.
Okay. So what type of how would you say you when talking about your style of game when it comes to leading this team, do you consider yourself more of an focus more on keeping the ball on a defensive side of things or an offensive side of things?
I think you have to think about it both ways. Volleyball is such a fast-paced game that you can't think about one side or the other. If I had to choose, I'm probably a little bit more of a defensive coach, because I think if you can keep the other team from scoring points, they get frustrated, and which allows us to kind of come in and score when we need to.
I was wondering if you were going to say defensive, because I've looked over some of the statistics of some of the girls on the team, and players like Chloe Branwee and Deirdre Prince are one of the best in the OAC right now in both blocks and digs. Mm-hmm. Does it seem like you put a lot of emphasis on getting your girls those blocks and digs?
All of our scouting report has to do with how are we going to stop the other team. And so with the occasional, this is how we are going to score points. But I think if you can shut down a team with what they want to go to, you're going to get them frustrated, and they're going to try something new that they've never really done before or that they're not comfortable with. So I think by taking off their number one option and their number two option, we can score.
And now I just dove in a little bit into statistic-wise in the OAC, but we're already in October. You've already gotten your first couple of games of OAC action, and how I guess I would have to ask to start off. How would you describe how has the challenge been so far in the OAC?
The challenge is always tough. Coming from a conference where Wittenberg won every single tournament, and it's just very different here because all of the teams are good, and you always have to prepare for every single team. You can't say, oh, we are just that much better than this team, so we don't have to go out and prepare. We have to prepare every single day on how we're going to beat our other teams.
And then when you compare, you also have to compare, like, you got, Muskingum has been a good volleyball team for the last couple of years as well. But in that, but comparing it, it's different comparing it to a different conference. So how would you describe? Would you say that the North Coast Athletic Conference? What would you say would be the difference between North Coast Athletic Conference and the OAC?
There is not as much competition. The NCAC is getting better, and they are pushing the top 4 teams. It's not as easy as it has been. For us, I feel like the top 6 teams are all right there together. And the OAC has always been known as a very tough conference.
And it goes to show on how much you guys play, how tough the season has been so far for you as well. I actually did some comparisons to how the team did last year. That they ended up with one of their best records in a while, and they ended up getting a home. Starting out the OAC tournament at hosting John Carroll at home. This year, you guys are on track to doing that again. But when you compare how you guys played the last you guys played grand total of 20 games so far. But if you compare how you guys did against last year's team, they still were able to get one more win than you guys, and they don't really start their winning streak until their big winning streaks until OAC play. Do you see yourself that you could not only maintain this level of performance, but maybe not only just this year, but within the years to come, surpass it?
I would say so. I think we're a little more thin in some areas than we were last year, and so it has been a little bit tougher on some of the other players who need a little bit of a break. But with this team, they work really, really hard, and they do not like to lose games. And so it is their motivation to win games. And with that, we have been pushing them over and over again.
Well, it seems like when I was also looking at the schedule, one of the biggest challenges you guys have been facing is you got last month you had a lot of grinding tournaments, and now you won't have, unless you want to count a try game you have sometime later this month. You don't really have a tournament that comes until November. But but the real question is, how do you get a team to constantly prepare? How do you get this team to prepare for the OAC when you play them constantly over the month?
We try to do a lot of 6-on-6 play, and so we are getting ourselves better by trying to prep the team for the next team that they're going to play. I've also been trying to jump in and play, and so has my assistant. So we jump in and we play against them to try to give them a different look other than that they see every single day in practices. So we are trying to do the things that the other team is going to do. And so they get to actually play the full game before they get there.
Okay. I believe that is all the questions I have. Thank you for coming on. And for those of you tuned in, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can go check out more content on orbitmediaonline.com. or some of our other social media sites. Thank you for joining us.